a presidential hopeful in the upcoming PLC elections, Julius Kanuba. I don't know his middle name, but he will pronounce that middle name. So he's my guest this afternoon, and you are aware that 2022 there was this issue about the PEL's elections, and there were some controversies over the entire process, where Dana Yankona emerged somehow, the way that those that conducted the elections. He emerged as leader, as president elect, and there were some controversies over his elections. And Liberia, being a country of peace, a country of law abiding, there were serious controversies. There was serious noise around the place, owing to the fact that people wanted the voter rules or the voters' roll to be cleared with people who were not part of the process, and they formed part of the process, according to information. And they went to court. They had some disagreements. They had all of the talks. They had all of the negotiations. All of the conferences were held. But again, the Ninth Judicial Circuit Court in Bond County, under the watch of Judge Boema Kanto, ruled that there should be a rerun of the elections of the PEL. And we are yet to know as to whether we will have the rerun, because it's supposed to be this month, or whether we will have another scheduled or refreshed or rebranded electoral body that people will go and register again to form part of the process. So we thought it quite important, quite prudent, that we have one of the candidates, one of those persons vying for this post, Julius Kanuba. That's why we brought him here today. But he will speak more to that. Let me just welcome Mr. Julius Kanuba. Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
My pleasure to form part of the important conversation. I'm doing very good. And greeting to your variegated audiences. I know you broadcast through radio platform and then social media platforms and other means. So it is very exciting to be with you at this particular time. I'd like to extend my warm greetings to all of you, the management and staff of ELBC, headed by the ever-energetic Eugene Fagon. It's a new management team comprising of some people that that all of us know within the media, journalism and communication landscape. We also know some come from different political backgrounds. So it's good to be at ELBC. Many people know me to be a product of ELBC because it was where my journalistic career took an important path in the early 2000s. So greetings to the staff of ELBC, my colleagues who are practicing different media institutions across Liberia. It's always good to be on the national broadcaster.
Julius, you are always smiling. What's the secret behind your smiles?
Well, there's a particular saying: the more you smile, the more you may live for a longer period of time. So maybe, but it comes from my family. Yeah, because we are very peaceful people. We smile to bring a new sense of, discourse to our own social being, and to make people to feel, very freed about us, because we are people, that work with almost everybody, especially those who want to work with us. Yeah, so I'm always smiling because it brightens, our day, and it makes us to feel, as one people, so to speak.
That's good. So we want to know who is this Julius Kanuba? Do you have a middle name in fight?
Yes.
Do you have a traditional name?
Well, I'm a product of Liberia. Normally, sometimes I don't tend to reflect on where I come from because sometimes when you discuss your country or your social origin, some people can want to trace you too deeply and to bring all sort of, nomenclatures around you. Julius Kuli Kanuba is my name. I am a product from one of the counties of Liberia. Like I said, I don't like to mention. Yeah.
Me, I know you from Lofa.
Yeah, so yes, I mean, simply I'm a simple person, so to speak, and I grew up in Liberia, attended university or high school in Liberia. I went abroad for further education, and then I came back to Liberia. I worked in Liberia extensively, beginning on ELBC from 2003 up to 2007, especially in the news and public affairs department, but also with the radio department. And then I left ELBC 2007. I can still remember in November to take a small transfer, not big, to the independent Star Radio. But prior to going to Star Radio, I was working as a correspondent for Radio Deutsche Welle between 2006 up to 2018. When I left mainstream journalism, while pursuing education abroad. So I worked at ELBC, left ELBC for Star Radio. At Star Radio, work at the Independent Star Radio, one of the best ever radio stations that was in the country at that particular time. And having worked at Star Radio, at a certain time, there were financial challenges with the institution, and the institution collapsed, so to speak. But prior to that, I got elected as an assistant and a secretary general in the very press union of Liberia, while in America. I think it was in 2010.
Oh, you were in America? You got elected?
Yeah, I got elected.
So how? Yeah.
So we are not strange to the politics of the press union of Liberia. We work extensively with our colleagues, and there is no one journalist or media communication practitioner in the country that we've had a problem with. I know some people like to over-exaggerate their own perspective or analysis on issues about us. But again, you can hold people responsible for their views or their sense of belonging. So yes, I work for different publications also.
Okay, that's good.
The Monitor, the Vanguard, Front Page Africa. I also work at Power, Television under Mr. Aaron, Colley.
A veteran.
Yes,
A veteran.
Yeah. So yes, we come to the table with a degree of understanding, right? Huge degree of understanding of our media landscape, of politics, economics, developments within Liberia. So nobody can intimidate us with any sort of jargons.
They're good. I know you have a lot of outlined profile that you won't just stop saying to the public today. But we are key. We are very much keen to knowing why did you decide to participate in the just ended or the past elections that was in 2022, 2023. Why did you decide to be a president for PEL?
Well, I've been one of the members of the Press Union of Liberia since 2003, when I started as a cadet at ELBC, joining the ranks in the Press Union of Liberia as an associate member, interested in being with an integrity-oriented institution that defends and strengthens the rights of journalists, media, and communication practitioners. So having been in the Press Union of Liberia and having observed the decline of the institution between 2016 up to 2022, many different individuals within the Press Union of Liberia who are full members, associate members, affiliate members, decided to have me come through the PUL, especially in the context of providing leadership at the union, having served under the leadership, for example, of Peter Kokwe, Melissa Ananchi, and the very Charles Coffey, who was president up to 2022. People, observe that I can be able to provide the leadership working as a team, because nobody is perfect or nobody is a born leader, right? You have to work as a team. So we have a vision for the Press Union, and we believe that for the Press Union to be meaningfully transformed into a 21st century institution, there's a need for individuals with the credibility, the integrity, and the vision to lead the institution. So our desire is to provide efficient, effective, and quality leadership at the PUL. And so we got into the process in the hope that the membership can give us the mandate, because nobody can become a leader of the PUL without getting the democratic will of the membership of the PUL. And so we decided to come into the process because the union was in a state of decline. And as a result, all of us have seen how the union was in fact weak in terms of, for example, disputes resolution, in terms of holding or adhering to the constitutional principles as embedded in the adopted constitution of October 10, 2009. And so there were a lot of constitutional violations. And one of the motivating factors was that even before I agreed to the different, petitioners, to the different members of the PUL to form a part of the election. The incumbent leadership at the time, Charles Coffey, Daniel Yankona, Musa Kene Akwebesa, because I did not say it, but I was working at Internews, a journalism quality and reporting advisor or officer, so to speak. They wrote in June 2022 seeking effectively my dismissal from the entity.
Why you think they were? Why you think they were pursuing the way they pursued it?
Well, they said that they levied different, unfounded, baseless accusations against Matt Pressing and the presence of other people who they thought were, in support of my candidacy or of change.
Is it for the presidency?
Yeah, yes.
Because
because by that time there were conversations that were ongoing as to drafting different people into the process, to lead the press union of Liberia, because many, and it is still the belief of the majority membership of the PUL that the former administrators of the union did not perform in line with the expectations. So, for instance, they wrote Internews. Jefferson Massa is at Internews, Liam Batch, there are different colleagues at Internews. You can do your own investigation, accusing me in fact of not being somebody who is eligible to contest for any leadership position at the PUL because I was working in media development. And these are the people that are responsible to enforce the constitution of the union. So they don't even know the constitution, accusing me of involving in insider trading, accusing me of involving in conflict of interest, and referring to me along with others that they identify as anti-Internews elements. This sort of dirty politics. So they were playing this sort of a politics, and people who know us, they don't know us to be what they refer to. Because if you refer to an individual journalist as an anti-media development element, especially in the context of Internews, Internews is in Liberia to implement the USARD, the US government project
for media institutions.
So if you refer to one person or a group of people as anti-Internews elements, it implies that you are referring to them as anti-US government interests.
Those were political charade in a way. I don't think you have taken it into consideration.
So, we took it into consideration in the context that, those guys were very unserious, right? And
they are your brothers anyway.
No, they were
we can classify them as unserious bands because they owe a lot to this nation, sir. Let us accord them some respect on a very serious.
But Matthew, who will be serious, right? You have a major person who has played a significant role within the media landscape to write a letter seeking not only to damage the person's reputation, but to damage the person's livelihood, right? Who is really serious? Like you are working on ELBC. Like the president should write and say Melvin is anti-ELBC element for that particular matter.
God forbid.
What are they thinking about, right? No piece or iota of evidence. So given some of these factors, we thought there was a need
to get into the race
for change at the PUL, because those guys, like many presidents have said, they mortgage the reputation of the institution's image, and diminished. Somebody used to say the institutional stock of the PUL in terms of credibility, legitimacy, decline, and on these guys. So we thought that yes, working with the membership, the majority membership, and those who believe that we can be able to work together to provide quality leadership for the PUL, we can go into the process and run and effectively win the process. But then, it ended up in disputes because of the same issue of adhering to the constitution in terms of producing the membership register. So that took us into conversations with the different committees of the Press Union of Liberia that were responsible for the production of the membership register. In consultation with the leadership, we wrote a series of communications, did everything internally possible to resolve some of these issues. And the guys, like the committee members, they failed us. So, like you said, where do we go if we are aggrieved? If we feel that our rights are violated, where do you go?
Mr. Kanuba, where is your stance when it comes to this entire process? Are you I'm yet to understand why young people of Liberia will be having controversy over just one position. Why didn't you just leave and just let it thing be and we move on after the elections in Banga?
Well, in 2019, it happened in the press union of Liberia that people rake, the same group of people, right? I mean, they rake the elections of the press union.
You didn't raise the issue.
No.
You didn't raise the issue.
No, it was raised, Melvin.
By whom?
By
you?
No, not me as an individual.
Why didn't you raise the issue?
I was not in the country in 2019.
You have left right there and raised the issue,
No,
sir.
listen. In 2019, there was a campaign team led by Otavian Williams and others, right? Those guys took the matter to court. In fact, the matter was not resolved in court when the incumbent leadership on Kofi at the time, Charles Kofi at the time, conducted elections to the very disappointment of majority membership of the PUL. But people say again, like you said, let's leave the team and let the men rule. That's simple way of talking in our Liberian English, right? They rule for 3 years. After 3 years, the same thing that happened in 2019, it was a repeat of the scenario. Let's hold elections in the night. Let's hold elections in violation of the Constitution in terms of the production of a credible membership register. And then afterwards, we'll call Julius, we'll call her campaign team, we reconcile. So that particular logic we have.
Did you hear that?
I mean, yes. I mean, they said it.
So why didn't you agree?
Oh, Melvin, how can you agree to a fraudulent process of an integrity institution?
You need
like
peace
the
in
PUL?
Liberia.
I mean, you need peace, but peace does not mean a violation of the Constitution. Peace does not mean corruption, because if you abuse power, you misuse power for your personal or sessional gain, it's an act of corruption. And corruption leads to violence within society. If you are a student of Liberian history or of the conflict in Liberia, corruption, according to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, according to many different scholars, system failures, which is a result of corruption, led to the 14 years or the quarter of a century of political violence in Liberia. So the corruption in the press union was so visible that all of us, we needed to stand for this institution. Because if you read the preamble of the press union of Liberia, the Constitution, right? If you read, the press union stands for integrity, for professionalism, for credibility within society, for the promotion of greater democracy. It is one of the core fundamental values of the PUL.
Julie.
So you can't compromise on the issue of integrity in the union. If you do it, you know what you do? You undermine the institution. And because of the corruption in the institution at the time, you saw what happened between November 2022 up to this particular month. The press union has not had a credible, legitimately recognized leadership. It was only through the court just recently that the court mandated the constitution of a leadership, an interim leadership that would take the union to elections.
From those that were being that were in leaderships before,
because their tenure,
especially the old ones.
Yeah, the first thing is their tenure expired. But the constitution of our union, the second Saturday is the day of election after 3 years, right? So once you don't conduct election, your service or your term expires.
Julius, are you forced to be a president for the PUL?
No, we are not forced to be.
But then why are you looking? Why are you looking all over the place here?
No,
you can just leave this thing and do your own different thing.
Yeah, the membership, the will of the membership.
Tell the people you're not ready for this position.
No, you can. You know, there's something called history, right?
You want to set the precedents?
You say no. It's not mean people don't make. I mean, an individual does not make history, right? It's people make history, right? And no one person can make history. So when people are calling our names, it's like you're calling the names of hundreds of journalists who are supporting us, because we are only the face or faces of the campaign because we are the candidates. But you have integrity-oriented individuals who are both mentors, credible journalists, media managers, media owners, the everyday journalists, meaning the reporters, the editors, the different broadcasters, different people from the print and social media platforms. They are the one behind this campaign. If you are in the different platforms of journalists in Liberia, the journalists are resolved to ensuring that the writing is done. And that's why we told our campaign team, the membership, we told the Press Union membership that don't engage in violence. Let's use the rule of law to resolve whatsoever ideological differences or perspectives we have. Once we cannot sit at a table, right, to resolve some of these things.
Sure.
And our campaign team, we've been proceeding very peacefully, no matter some of the jabs or street talks that are brought by some people who consider themselves, the sort of a reservoir of knowledge within Liberia. But we stand for integrity, and we can't compromise on integrity issues.
What kind of PUL do you want to see?
We have this sort of a simple motto that we want to bring back credibility, integrity, and dignity to the PUL. And to bring credibility, integrity, and dignity to the PUL, it requires the implementation of a 6-pillar agenda that we've identified. One focuses on accountable leadership. By accountable leadership, we want to ensure that the Constitution is enforced in terms of producing financial and narrative reports, being accountable to the membership, but also ensuring that the membership is accountable to the field of journalism, media, and communication. But the Constitution, for example, Melvin, before going to a Congress, you must be able to produce narrative and financial reports. You distribute or circulate, right, that particular narrative and financial report to the membership 7 days before Congress. You are one of the 4 members of the PUL. If I ask you now whether you receive financial or narrative report prior to the fiasco in Banga in November 2022, you tell me, say no, right? And it applies to almost all of the membership of the PUL. So we want to show accountable leadership. The second thing is we want to bring about impartial advocacy. The Press Union since the 30th of September 1964 has been this sort of a bulwark of impartial advocacy. But in the last few years, the union has lost its moral voice within society.
Did you find out
as
why?
As a result of fraud, right? You can conduct an election in 2019 unopined by the violation of the Constitution, unopined by fraudulent practices. The former membership committee of 2 persons, right? Sorry, I can't call their names, or if you want, I can call them.
We can't go personal.
Fine. They said in 2019, they observed that 50 persons were not eligible to vote in the Press Union of Liberia election, and those people voted. That was said by the membership committee of 2022. The same membership committee in 2022 violated the same constitution. They put people on the lists who were not eligible because they had vested interests. So we want to provide impartial advocacy. By impartial advocacy, we want to engage the government constructively. People who are involved in media development, we want to engage them very constructively. The Press Union is a moral voice within society because journalism contributes to political stability, to economic development, to the day-to-day, livelihood of people. Because the broadcasts that we do can make people to make informed decision within their life. So it is essential that we have the watchdog institution of society, the Press Union, right, to have that sort of a moral voice, impartial advocacy. For us, we take this approach to life. Even when I work at ELBC, if you ask some of the editors, director on news, they tell you that for us, we like a balanced approach. We don't take the journalism practice. So we want to remain impartial. We are not for or against, but we take a middle range ground.
But you can take a side sometimes.
No. Whatsoever you do in life is a side. Right? Even if you laugh, like when I came, I was smiling. It's a side that I've taken. Right? I don't want to tell my face.
Because you don't want me to ask you all of the hard questions anyway.
That's what normally say. So we want to provide that sort of an impartial advocacy. We will not be against any individual in society, whether in the public sector or what have you. We want to ensure that if a journalist is wrong on an issue, we hold that journalist accountable on the basis of our impartial advocacy. We want to ensure if the rights of a journalist, right, is disrespected by anyone in society, we will take up that issue impartially. So that is our second pillar. The third pillar is what we call the construction of the union headquarters. The Press Union since 1964, by September 30, the Press Union will be 60. At 60, the press union does not have its own headquarters. So for us, we want to construct the headquarters.
Where do you?
Well, I mean, per the constitution, the headquarters of the press union of Liberia must be based in the capital, just like, I mean, the Liberian constitution that calls for the sitting of the government and the structures to be in, the capital. So we have to construct the union. Per our understanding, and I say per our understanding because there are some controversies, has got a land in the Cinco Belt. So we want to see how we can
under the former leadership.
Well, it's been a long period of time, but not under the former leadership. I think since the George Papin era, the press union Liberia got a land, got 100,000 from President
Abdullah Kamara,
from President Sirleaf, and but that matter again ended up where it ended up. So for us, we believe that we can construct the headquarters of the PUL. The majority membership is resolved that through our leadership, once and when we are given the mandate, we can be able to work together, mobilize the financial and human resources as well as the material resources to construct the headquarters of the PUL. And that is possible. Nobody should say it's not possible. And the other point we want to bring is support for women in journalism, media, and communication. And this is essential. And we are learning from different organizations across the country in terms of women empowerment. But this straight, we want to, at this particular level, we want to focus on women in media leadership. We believe that women should play important roles in the different media institutions in the country.
Women become managers, director of programs,
different positions. It will not be a revolution to remove males from their position, but we can be able to work to see how we provide mentorship, capacity building program, regional, sub-regional, continental, and global networks, for women journalists in the country. Because the women, they play a very significant role in terms of, broadcasting, in terms of, the press within our society. What we also want to ensure as part of our agenda is what we call inclusive and sustainable media development. And that is very critical. I will mention the issue of capacity building, for instance. And then, Melvin, crucially, the issue of the welfare, improving the working or the service of conditions for journalists in the country.
Across the country.
There are some institutions in Liberia, they are paying journalists relatively good or comparatively good or very good, right? But there are other institutions, the situation, the condition of journalists is appalling in terms of salaries, right? In terms of, for example, health insurance. So we want to ensure, because one of the core fundamental responsibilities of the PUL is to advocate for improved working conditions for journalists in the country. So we want to ensure we bring back conversations about the collective bargaining agreement that talks about improving the service of condition of journalists in the country. Melvin, it is sorrowful. To say that today, if somebody is sick, what happens? We launch SOS Call. Sometimes we reveal the conditions of those people on air publicly. So we normally
it shouldn't be.
We should not be, right? We normally say the first hospital for journalists is the airwave or in social media platforms, right? Or on social media platforms, right? So we want to change that particular dynamic. We are aware that some institutions in Liberia, especially media institutions, they have health insurance scheme for their employees. I'm not too sure of the situation at ELBC.
The current management team is working on that.
Because somebody said it was in existence, right? And it could be 100%. So the press union, on our leadership, we have to conduct a thorough study to know the condition of journalists in terms of health insurance, because you can't be working for ELBC, for example, or for other media institutions. You are not insured as an employee, right? If you get sick, sometimes you don't have the means. We live on livable income or sometimes unlivable income, right? So we have to ensure some of these things are done. So if you are informing me now that the management of Eugene Fagon and his other colleagues are working on it,
they've been working on this.
It's an important development. It's an important development, and that is a commendable
step. It's a pat on their
back
in a way.
It's a commendable step, and it will help to ensure that whatsoever happens to the employees of ELBC, their children who are underage, they can be able to receive health insurance. It also applies to social security, for example. When you retire at the age that you've reached of retirement, you need to benefit from your social security. But do we have it in place for journalists? Well, it's a debate that everyone should have. And crucially, what we are taking to the PUL, if we are given the power by the membership, is the issue of the formation of media hubs in the counties. You mentioned the issue of the headquarters of the PUL, whether it will be in Monrovia or outside of Monrovia. Well, per the Constitution, the union has got a responsibility to establish sub-chapters of the union in every county or regional.
That's a huge project.
I mean, it's a huge project, but it's very simple.
Where are you going to get the funding from?
No, I mean, there are some things that don't necessarily require huge financial resources. Where in Bong, the other time, for example, in Bong County, you have, I mean, per our estimate, you have more than 100 journalists who are working in the media field in Bong County. Bong has produced some of the best, journalists in the country, or communication or media, professionals. It also applies to other counties like Nimba, Lofa, the Western Belt, Bombing, Bapolu, Grand Cape Mount. It also applies to the Southeastern region or to the Central region, Magibi. You go along the Basel Belt, River Sets, Maryland, Sino, River G, Grand G there. So what we want to ensure is that the leadership structure that is in place in Monrovia, central level, is replicated in the counties. So that is very simple. You just need to have conversations with the journalists who are practicing in Bong County, with the media and communication professionals, so that you can have, for example, either the president of the Press Union subchapter in Bong County, the vice president, the secretary general, the assistant secretary general. And this is intended to have impactful decentralization of the union, so that if anything happens in Grand Jida, for instance, you don't have to have the secretary general, the president flying or taking the roles, right, to go to Grand Jida.
You already have your
a leadership in place. The current system we have is just one county, one coordinator.
But Julia is good at saying, but the implementation is the process.
You are speaking to people with the reputation. We have the reputation of serving.
You're sugarcoating all of the good things because you want to be president of the PUL.
No,
tomorrow you get elected. You turn your back to the members.
This is a mandate.
I'm afraid.
What I'm saying is embedded within our manifesto. The manifesto. We shared the manifesto with the membership. We're in one of the counties. Guess what? The same thing you're saying. Oh, Julius, you are speaking like a politician, an everyday politician. They bring all of the good promises, but after they shall have been elected, they turn their backs.
Yeah.
So what should we do to you and your team if you are elected and you failed to live up to the expectations? One of the journalists suggested we'll take Julius to court and have him jailed. So I'm afraid of being in jail. Throughout my life, I'm not too sure I've gone to jail, except for the discipline by our parents, where they lock you up in the house for a certain period of time. But we are afraid of jail. The team is a reputable team. People like Raymond Zabi, Edwin Clark,
who's your vice running mate?
Who's your vice running mate? Well, we have one of the female journalists who continues to exert herself, providing leadership within the media community of our country. She's Beatrice Titi Sie. She's his present station manager of D15 or District 15 radio, the Bush Road radio. I mean, that radio station that got popular during a certain period as a result of as a result of standing their ground for everyone to have access to freedom of expression. And so she's a very hardworking, very strong lady, and she stands for principles. She's been throughout with us. And yes, she's on a ticket. But in the press union, like we normally say, you are elected on the basis of what the members believe that you can perform. Because no one candidate or set of candidates can receive the same number of votes in the press union. Beatrice will receive more votes than the presidential candidates or the secretary general candidate or the assistant secretary general candidate. But we run as a ticket.
And she could also make it to have a lesser vote.
Well, it is
because of the kind of popularity she would not gain.
No.
Is Beatrice a popular woman?
No, she is. She is very popular. Nobody in the press union of Liberia has publicly stated that she does not have the integrity or the credibility. Void of the politics, right? Because she's competing against people on the other side. So they will have all
Who are your rivals? Who are your rivals?
No, we don't consider people as rivals.
Who are your major contenders?
Well, per the 2022 situation, Mr. Daniel Yankona was contesting for the presidency.
You were afraid of him?
Afraid?
I guess.
No, you can't be afraid when you get into an electoral process. I told you before, we got elected in the press union while we're not even in the country. Then how about being in the country? What can happen? You have the majority.
So who are your current contenders, sir?
We are currently, there's a legal clarity that is needed. Until that legal clarity is provided, no one is or certified candidate in the current process that is on. Until the clarity is provided, we remained a candidate that came from the 2022 process. So that 2022 process is still on, because per the court ruling, the court said it is ordering a re-wrong of the 2022 electoral process. And
did you feel frustrated when the ruling was being pronounced by Judge Boma Konto in Banga?
The ruling was pursued, or the case was pursued by us. So how frustrated can somebody be when your rights are declared? Like we said in the statement that we issued, I think on the 19th or 20th of June, it was a victory for the integrity of the PUL. For those who stand for the integrity of the institution, this was a victory for the entire membership. There were some noises around that, in fact, the matter needed to have been withdrawn from the court. If this matter could not have been settled in court, the dispute will have continued, the debates will have continued as to who is right or wrong. And the court is the only legitimately recognized avenue within our country. Now, if you have a dispute, you go in and solve it. And the court renders due process according to Article 20 of the Liberian Constitution. This case went to the Supreme Court. We won the case at the Supreme Court because the other side wanted to have conducted what they call an induction of the so-called officers that were elected, and the Supreme Court told them, no, you can't do it. You have to go to Bon County.
Julius,
so the judge in Bon County ruled on the matter on the 18th of June.
Yeah, I know.
So it is this ruling that is now being implemented.
That I know. But Julius, I sense that you have some fear because my understanding is that there are people who have confided in you in the previous elections, and they are now being dropped from the list. So you have some fear.
No,
because they are not legal. They are not part of the president of Liberia.
No, we are the one, in fact, have been saying that the integrity of the membership should be protected. So we are not afraid. What we are afraid of is fraud, ineligible people, right? We are both journalists and non-journalists, because Article 4 of the Presidium Constitution categorizes the union's membership into 4 categories, right? You have the full membership, the associate membership, the affiliate membership, and the institutional membership. And to become a full member of the Presidium, you must have met different or one of the 3 criteria. For example, you must have earned a degree in journalism, media or communication, or mass communication, and practiced with that degree for 2 years. If you did not study journalism, mass communication, or media, for example, you must have earned your degree in the particular field that you study in, for example, accounting, economics, or other related fields, and then you practice for 3 years. So if you don't meet those 2 criteria, there is another criterion that can make you eligible as a full member. You must have practiced as a Liberian journalist with a recognized and accredited media institution for 5 years.
Okay.
So we observed that the 2022 membership register, the first thing is, it was not produced in line with the Constitution, Article 10, Section 7, that calls for the disaggregation of the membership register into different categories, males or females, or gay, lesbian, what have you, and the positions, the titles that people who are these institutions, and the institutions that they work for. And the Constitution says, etc., in that particular clause. So it makes us afraid. If your name Melvin Stewart is put on the list, we don't know where you work, what title you hold, which institution you work for, what country do you belong to.
Are journalists entitled to the process as well? Not journalists, but janitors?
No, janitors. I know you're asking the question because some janitors.
Because the noise came around 2022, they said people who are
community relation officers, interns, they are not eligible to hold the full membership of the PUL. So the full membership is the only membership category of the PUL that has got the voting right. right? They can be voted for and they can
be
vote.
voted against.
No, they can be voted for and they can vote.
Okay.
But there are some full members, for example, public relations officers who were journalists prior to
But they are in
becoming.
different areas.
Yes, because they are in public relations, they can vote.
So even if they
But
are,
they can be voted
if
for.
I'm a minister today, under the president or under the leadership of President Boakai, if I'm an assistant minister, do I have the right to vote?
Per the constitution, yes. As long you were a journalist
That's good.
before becoming a minister and you met the full membership criteria or criterion before you became a minister, so you can vote. But that is an issue of morality, right? Because sometimes, I mean, all of us we've been brainstorming. In fact, I'm told the ancient leadership thought on that part or has been reflecting
on
because, yeah, even during the August 8th meeting, they indirectly mentioned it. But again, the Constitution says once you were a journalist that met the membership requirement to become a full member, you remain a full member until the Constitution is revised, right?
Okay.
So we observe all of these things. The production of the membership register, like the final voter roll. The final voter roll, if you can remember of the elections in Liberia, the national elections.
It was very bulky.
Yeah, it went to the Supreme Court in 2017, right?
Yeah.
So people were speaking about the integrity of the membership of the votership roll. So we have of the voter roll, right? So we have to ensure that we produce a credible membership register, and that is a necessity in the press union of Liberia, because Mervyn, you can win or lose elections by the membership register, right? And if you were in the August 8th meeting by the interim leadership, they themselves, they found out irregularities. They found out that there were fraudulent activities in the registration process of the PUL. And the membership register, they said, lacks the integrity. If you listen or read their last statement, I mean, that they issued to allay fear of people whose names did not appear on their provisional listing, they said they are working to restore the integrity of the membership register because that particular membership register that was produced did not have the integrity.
Julius, you have to keep some of these things for your debate anyway.
It's public already. So one thing they said they called somebody who is an 8th grade student and said they were trying to investigate whether that person is a journalist or not. And guess what? I said, no, I'm a high school student. Oh, I want to be a journalist.
Yeah, those are political to Julius.
No,
so let's leave that one. Let's leave it. Julius, let's leave it. So Julius, we will soon take few calls, then we'll let you go. As we speak, you were in Banga and you were being endorsed by the Bong media, and there were people coming from different parts of the 13 administrative districts. How did that go?
Well, it went very well. We thank our colleagues in Bong County for the massive endorsement. This is an affirmation that, yes, the path to the presidency, to the leadership,
it's glaring.
The vice presidency is
when you are whipped. What will you do, Julius? Do you have faith in Monrovia?
No. I mean, I am a Democrat, right? I am a critical Democrat. In us Democrats, as long as you participate in the process that is deemed a free, fair, transparent, credible, you concede immediately, right? Because the concession that you make, it contributes to the democratic development of the institution that you want to head. I told you before, I've contested in the press union of Liberia elections while abroad. If I were going to lose that election,
Julius, when you are beaten, what will be your stand? I want to open the line quickly.
Well, in a democratic process, I mean, I will concede defeat immediately and congratulate the winner or winners of that particular election.
Thank you,
process.
Julius Kanuba. Julius Kule Kanuba is a presidential hopeful in the upcoming president of Liberia's elections. He's my guest this afternoon on a bumper show. You can put in your calls now on 0772 876481, 0772 876481, or 0886 324740, 0886 324740. You can call on these numbers and be a part of the conversation this afternoon. Just ask a question directly. We don't have much time. Just go straight to the issue and let's hear from you. Let me hear from this person. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Nomegonsia, a member of the Press Union of Liberia. I call you currently from Clay Street, in Monrovia. So quickly, very, very quickly, I want to bring Julius to this point that he should know that the Press Union of Liberia Constitution talks about who is eligible to be elected as president of the Press Union. And we are talking about Article 1 of the Press Union of Liberia. And it says that to be a holder of at least a bachelor's degree in any course, he has that. Then the section that talks about Julius is that you qualify as a member, as someone who should contest for this position is that prior to Julius becoming, contesting for this position as president of the Press Union, he has now practiced as a journalist in the newsroom. The last position that Julius Kanumba served was when he was at the European Union, and he came from public relations. Prior to Julius coming from public relations, he had not served as active newsroom person to become actively involved in public relations.
Yeah,
Julius Kanumba is not qualified.
Okay, let me ask you. Don't. Yeah, Mike.
Candidate in these elections.
Mike, you can hear me?
Julius? Yes, Julius.
Which institution has served as public relation officer?
The European Union.
Hey, Mike.
The European Union. Finally,
we got it.
Julius.
Okay, Mike.
Don't go follow.
No.
Right? Don't go
so
follow.
just
Mike,
respond.
Mike has been, leading a misleading campaign on social media.
So
it's good that he called, right?
So yes,
because
of course.
I work at the European Union as a secretary in the political session, right? Mark thinks
the political section has the same thing as the economic affairs.
Well, there was a department responsible,
Okay.
but both is a combination.
Okay,
so sometimes do political economy analysis, right? And Mark thinks that because I worked for the EU between I think 2011 up to 2014, 2015. So I have not transitioned into anything there, right?
Okay.
And Mark,
I want us to take few calls quickly because we don't have time, sir.
Because he has a mindset.
That's your
says,
brother. Let back on be back on.
He has a mentality.
Liberia deserves
that says-
better, Julius.
So for example, right, we applied for the candidacy that we are seeking, right? Mark said you are going to file a protest. He did not file. Right, I was qualified.
Against your application?
Yeah. I mean, we have series of articles written by Mark.
Okay.
Right. So Mark, you have nothing.
Let it be so. Let hear.
I know he's a junior umbrella.
Good afternoon. Oh, this person is gone zero. We will take few calls and later on ushering our next guest. He's our next guest this afternoon. We will usher him in. But let me hear from this person. Hello.
Melvin, good afternoon. This is Moses Gipley. I join you from Har.
Moses, we don't have time. Just 30 seconds, please. Moses? Oh, my goodness. Moses is off the line. Moses called from Harper. So sad. 086 324740 07728764881. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I don't know what's happening to this line, but let me take it from here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Melvin.
Yeah, please go ahead quickly.
Thank you. This is Moses Gipley. I joined you from Harper, Maryland. Let me say good afternoon to the leader, the incoming president of the President of Liberia, Julius Kanumba. Good afternoon, Chief.
Go ahead.
I have called to commend him for his level of articulation on the state radio. Sometimes we listen to some of our colleagues who claiming to be journalists saying things without proof and evidence. They baffle some of us, especially the colleague who just learned self-claiming that Julius Kanumba is unqualified or have never worked in the newsroom. It baffles me to hear journalists speaking, especially if you don't know somebody. It's always good to investigate, especially.
Moses, we don't have time.
So I want to say congratulations in advance to Julius Kanumba, the next president of Liberia.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, how you doing? Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello, please go ahead.
Hello?
Okay. Well, I don't think we can continue with you. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, 10 seconds.
Good evening.
10 seconds, please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Lincoln still standing with you. I call you from Maryland County as one of the affiliated members of the PDL.
Quickly now.
Thank you, Chief. Let me commend the incoming studio. His articulation represents Liberia. To see a young man who's very, hardworking and who has the interest of his colleagues. The fact is that I'm pick up with the issue of decentralizing the issue of PDL to the Southeast. So let me say thank you, and I wish him good luck into the process.
Thank you. Thank you. I will take this person. Hello, how you doing?
Hello?
Hello, please go ahead.
Am I live on your video?
Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
My name is...
I don't think I can continue with you. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Go ahead quickly.
Definitely sit on.
Yeah.
People of India in Liberia and while last. You're not local of Liberia. Yeah, listen to your studio girl. I joined, and I will speak at the time I joined the program. What is the short term, middle plan, long term plan? Lastly, the issue about the 100,000 United States dollars that were given to the previous leadership to construct the PR headquarters. Where are we? What will he do if he's fortunate to win the presidency of the PR? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I take 3 persons, then I go to the guest. Hello, how you doing?
Antonio, sir.
Yes, sir. We don't have time. 5 seconds.
Thank you ever so much. This is retired Captain Emmanuel Ezzo, and I'm calling in from Zero City, Grand Julia County.
Go ahead.
Let me say thank you to your studio guest, but I have a question. What are the mechanisms actually going to put into place to see to it that the safety and protection of journalists in our country is well undertaken with a cordial relationship between the security advisor and that of the journalists in our country?
Thank you.
Have
Have a good day. You did well. Straight to the easy. Hello. Okay, I think I can take one more. Then Mr. Julius Kanuba will address the concerns just maybe in 1 and 30 seconds. 1 minute 30 seconds. Then we'll let it be. Hello, how you doing? Oh, I'm so sorry that this line is not responding. But Mr. Kanuba, you heard the concerns from the people. Can you just address them quickly? Then we'll let you go, sir.
Well, I think out of the callers and to my comrade leaders who've called, like Moses in the G-Play, right? Tell you thank you very much for the level of support and the work you continue to do in the southeastern region, like other regions of our country. To the last call, I think Emmanuel Do, I think he said retire, right? I think you're in the security forces, and he asked a question about, security relations in terms of journalistic security and the rule of law. Well, like we said, on the pillar of impartial advocacy, we intend to work with all sectors of our country to ensure that media security relations, the media society relations are improved and strengthened so that the media can be respected and that media people can respect members of the society as always, whether in the security sector, in the private sector, or in any other sector. On the question by Seaton about long, short, medium-term plan, the agenda we articulated encompasses all of those periods that we can be able to work to implement. The 100,000 case has been in court, I think, since 2003. It was taken from out of court by the most immediate administration of Kofi. And so for us, we are focused on constructing the headquarters. We believe that the construction of the headquarters will perhaps put to bear the issue of the 100,000. So our administration, like we've made a commitment to the membership that we cannot take a case again on the 100,000. People use that, in fact, as a campaign to scare people that we're coming to prosecute. So we are focused on providing accountable leadership, and we want to move forward on the construction of the headquarters. On the issue of the decentralization, as we said, and we said something. He said, I am one of the affiliating. Sometimes people don't want to hold affiliates or associate membership of the PUL, especially if you don't meet the criteria, right? So we said, thank you very much. The decentralization is of significance to our campaign team. We ensure that the PUL is impactfully represented in the counties. We don't want to see journalists who are in the counties, just being mere voters without benefiting from the press union of Liberia. We want to improve the service or condition of journalists in those counties. My colleague Moses, thank you. Mike called earlier, but Mike, read Article 4, properly, and read the different requirements. Because Article 4, for example, the Roman number 5, right? It says, for example, journalists working with media development NGOs who meet 4 membership criteria are set forth in subsection 1, 2, and 3 supra shall be granted full membership of the union. So perhaps Mark and others were a part, maybe, of this sort of a process to deny people participation in the union elections, because Mike has been on the other side.
Julius, thank you.
Yeah, so
I don't want you to dwell too much on Mike anyway.
We intend to work with everyone, and like we said, democracy is about participation and opposition. We respect anyone like Mike who has got a perspective, and if you have any complaints, there are different mechanisms you can be able to use. And nobody can intimidate us that we are not eligible or qualified to run the press. Between 2014 up to present, or up to the time that we launched our candidacy, you should be able to read our profiles. Right?
Thank you. Julius, thank you so much. Hope that we can have another time before the elections.
Yes, we are always available. Again,
when you'll be launching?
No, we have to receive clarity from
the court.
Because in this information to the press union membership, the issue of the conduct of the elections on the 24th of August is still uncertain.
Yes,
we cannot make the
August 24th will be national holiday.
No, besides that, the committee has said that it will conduct the elections on August 24th. So until the committee can speak to the matter, we are on pause. And for us, we are ready.
But you're doing your own groundwork.
No, not on the ground. There's nothing sinister about anything that we do to be on the ground. We are public.
Julius, it has been good having you this afternoon on the bumper show in a way.
Our pleasure.
Well, of course, Julius Kanuba is a contending partner in the upcoming elections of the Press Union of Liberia. He has been my guest on the first lap of the bumper show this afternoon on ELBC Radio. Thanks to all of the radio stations who have been relaying us. You keep doing what you do for Liberia. My name is Melvin.